Hey there, I'm Dr. Katie McNichol. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and I specialize in the mental health and wellness of teenage girls and young women. And I've started a new series called Questions to a Counselor from Teen Girls because over the years I've done lots of speaking engagements. And one of my favorite things is to ask girls to anonymously, like on cards like this, write me questions, and that way I can answer them. And what I found to be so cool about that process is how many girls have the same kinds of questions, and then they have that opportunity to ask it anonymously. So a lot of times you'd be surprised, they're asking really great questions. And so one that I get a lot and I want to just jump right into today is, how can we support friends who are struggling with mental health? And then there's a follow-up question of, what steps besides talking to an adult can you take to help someone or yourself if they're really struggling? So I get these kind of questions all the time. And if I was talking to the girls, this is pretty much how I would answer that. So I know that it can be a challenge to want to talk to an adult, but I will always tell them, we got to figure out how to talk to an adult. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean mom or dad, right? Sometimes mom and dad are not the people that we need to go to. And hear me out on that. Sometimes the questions that girls are struggling with, the things related to their mental health that they're struggling with, are very overwhelming and scary. In their heads, it's huge. It's the end of the universe, and nobody else could possibly be thinking these things. So it's really scary to go to mom or dad. So I usually will encourage them, have somebody else in your life. It could be a sibling. It could be an older sibling. It could be a college student. It could be somebody that works in youth group, somebody at the school, cousins, other family members, aunts, uncles, grandparents, somebody else that they can go to. Because the reality is these issues are often very heavy that they're dealing with, and they need to make sure that they have an adult brain involved in that process. So I usually will tell them, unfortunately, you gotta go talk to an adult. The other piece to this that is critical, and I share this with all of my clients, and I always share it with girls when I'm talking, is that I think we need to get to a place in our culture that we really understand that mental health is health, right? I think for a long time we've kept those things separate, but now I hope that we're better educated and we understand that mental health is health. And so I find oftentimes that girls are struggling with all kinds of things, especially medical issues, right? We forget that depression is considered a medical condition. Anxiety can be considered a medical condition. I'm not talking about we're having a bad day. I'm not talking about we have a low mood. I'm talking about something that is going on consistently. And so when girls are talking to their friends, they are often not considering the fact that the friend or themselves could be dealing with some type of medical condition. I see thyroid issues all the time. I see hormone related issues, issues related to period, unexplained illnesses. So there's a lot going on medically that can be contributing to somebody. Somebody dealing with chronic pain. I've treated clients over the years that have chronic pain. And as a result of the chronic pain, they have depression-like symptoms consistently. So I usually will educate girls on that piece, that mental health is health and that there's a lot of other things that can be contributing. And I think it's really great to be a friend that listens and supports other friends that are struggling with their mental health. I always encourage that and support that. But I also remind them that they're not a therapist. They're not trained for that. They don't have the emotional capacity, the developmental capacity to handle some of the mental things that are going on with their friends. So as amazing as it is that they want to help their friend, one of the number one things they can do is encourage that friend to get help, to reach out to somebody else. If the friend is unwilling, I will usually encourage my clients, you have to go to your parents. You have to go to an adult for your friend because it may be the only way they get help. We don't want people to be suffering in silence. We want people to get the help that they need. There's lots of great therapists out there, other professionals that can help. You don't necessarily need medication. You don't even necessarily need therapy all the time, but it can be helpful to at least get a checkup and make sure that there isn't something else going on. I've had clients with blood work come back and they're deficient in vitamins. Well, once we get the vitamin issue resolved, they get better and they feel better. So we don't want people suffering in silence. I love that people are wanting to support their friends. I think that's huge, but it's also, again, important to remember you're not their therapist and it's really not your role. A lot of my clients say they find relief knowing that they don't have to play therapist, that they don't have to carry the burdens of other people in that way. And so I know they don't always like it when I say you really do have to talk to an adult, but I do encourage them, they need to talk to an adult. Again, it doesn't have to be mom and dad, but it needs to be somebody else that can guide them, that can help them navigate that, and then ultimately get their friends that help. Now, it's also perfectly okay to just listen. You don't always have to fix everything that's going on for people, and that is an important piece as well. Sometimes people are just having a bad day, they're having a low day, and they need a friend to listen to them. But we need to know the difference between somebody having a bad day and somebody that's got chronic low mood that may be battling depression, may be suffering in silence, and they really need to get extended help. And that's really only gonna come from talking to an adult. So hopefully that helps. Hopefully you find relief in that, and that you understand that as much as we don't necessarily want to talk to adults all the time, find the right adult to talk to, because they exist. There are adults out there that get it and that they want to help, and you can find them if you just look around. I do believe that every girl needs to have other adults in their life that are healthy, that can help them along that journey, because it's just not realistic to think that it's always going to be mom or dad. So, hope that helps.